You wake up in a room without walls, or rather, it feels like a room, not because it has a ceiling or a floor or boundaries, but because something deep inside you insists on the word room. The space stretches out in every direction, white and endless, like fog made of light. There are no doors, no windows, no sounds, just silence and the low, electric hum of your own thoughts forming too loudly inside your skull. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you are. You sit up, feeling no weight. There's no gravity here. Yet somehow, your body obeys you. Your arms move when you will them too, but there's something off, as if they're responding to commands before you give them. And then it hits you. You don't even know what your name is. You check your hands, they're smooth, familiar, but also alien. You press your palm against the nothingness beneath you and feel ... resistance, like the idea of a surface had to be there because you expected it. Hello. You whisper. The sound doesn't echo. It just disappears, swallowed by the whiteness. Seconds pass, or minutes. Time here is flexible. You stand. In the distance, something flickers. A shadow. No, a thought, made visible. You take a step forward, and with each movement, the whiteness rearranges around you like you're walking through a painting not yet dry. Then something appears, a chair. It's brown, old, wooden, like something from a childhood memory you can't quite place. You didn't try to summon it, but something about it feels like you. You blink, and now there's a second object, a single red apple sitting on the chair, glossy, bright, real. Your stomach growls, as if it just remembered hunger existed. The moment you feel it, you are hungry. And the apple smells sweet, crisp, perfect. You take it, and as soon as your hand touches its surface, a voice echoes in your mind. If it appears, you've already made it real. You drop the apple. It vanishes before it hits the ground. You're trembling. Is this a dream, a prison, a test? You start to think faster, harder, trying to control it all. A table, a mirror, a person, nothing appears. And then you realize, maybe it doesn't respond to wanting. Maybe it only responds to knowing. You sit on the chair. It holds your weight. Then, like a magician's flourish, words begin to form in the air before you, glowing letters, one by one. You're the creator, but you forgot? You stand again, breath caught in your throat. This isn't just a place. This is something else, a waiting room for gods. A void between versions of you. A blank canvas that once belonged to you. But how could that be true? How could you have built all of this and still be this lost? Before you can answer, the whiteness begins to shift. Symbols, shapes, like ancient glyphs made of electricity, drift through the air, rearranging into patterns your mind can't fully hold. And in the center of the storm, a book begins to materialize, floating, glowing, closed. It hovers just out of reach. You step forward. Your fingertips graze its cover, and the whiteness darkens ever so slightly. Then, from somewhere, everywhere, a faint whisper, you wrote the rules. You buried the truth, your heart races. You ask aloud, for the first time with urgency, who am I? But this time, something answers. You'll remember, but not yet, and just like that, the book opens itself, pages blank, waiting for your next thought. The pages don't turn, they hover in the air, frozen mid-flutter like a decision not yet made. You stare at the book, and it stares back. Though its surface is blank, something radiates from it, a pressure, a pulse, like it's waiting for your permission. You reach forward and, without touching it, the page flips. Still blank, then another, still nothing. But as your hand hovers closer, something starts to appear. A single glowing symbol etched into the paper, drawn not with ink but with light. It shimmers, hovering just above the surface of the page like it doesn't quite belong in this dimension. You don't recognize it, yet it feels ... familiar. Suddenly, the walls, or what you once thought were the boundaries of this space, dissolve into open, pulsating fields of light. Symbols, like the one in the book, begin floating all around you, tracing invisible lines through the air. They drift gently, silently, forming constellations, equations, memories. You walk forward. The symbols follow. You begin to see a rhythm in their dance, a sequence, not random, a pattern. And as you move, more words appear in the air, not written, but spoken directly into your mind. Everything you see began as language. Before there was matter, there was meaning. Your skin tingles, the symbols start to react to your thoughts. You think of heat, and a red-orange symbol pulses bright. You think of music, and a string of them form a glowing wave. You think of yourself, and the entire field rearranges like a shiver through the void. These symbols are not decorations. They're commands, a language of creation. And you're remembering how to speak. You whisper, "Show me," before. The symbols slow, then freeze. And a rift opens in the whiteness ahead, not a door, not a screen, but a fracture in space where a new reality bleeds through. It shows flashes, stars forming backward, a spiral galaxy rewinding into a point, and then your own face, distorted and younger, laughing, surrounded by color and chaos. You stumble back. You didn't just create this room. You created the entire system, space, time, energy. Then erased your identity to experience it as something less. But why? You think hard, and the answer rises, not from logic, but from somewhere deeper, an echo. To forget is the price of becoming, you breathe. It makes no sense, yet it makes perfect sense. Behind you, the book closes itself. More symbols appear in midair, swirling gently toward your chest, pressing against your skin, then phasing inside you. You feel them settle, like memories being downloaded. Your hands glow faintly now. You raise one, and the whiteness in front of you twists into shape, a stairway. Each step made of pulsing glyphs. At the top, far above, a figure waits, not moving. It looks like you, but you're not sure which version. And as you begin to climb, one symbol, the very first one from the book, floats into view and speaks directly into your thoughts. There are rules you don't remember, and one of them is watching you. A chill runs through you. You keep climbing anyway. The stairs stretch on far longer than they should. You don't grow tired. There's no sense of exertion. Still, each step feels significant, as if reality must rearrange itself every time you move upward. Symbols ripple beneath your feet like stepping stones across a living sea. At the top stands a pedestal. And resting upon it, the book, it's not the same as before. This one is older, bound in a material that looks like stone but feels like breath. Its surface shifts subtly, like it's listening. You hesitate, unsure. But something, maybe the part of you that remembers reaches out and opens it. The pages are empty. Again, you flip through them, faster now, blank, all of them, until, halfway through, you find a page that's warm. You touch it, and the room changes. Suddenly, you're no longer standing at the pedestal. You're in a vast circular hall carved from obsidian, lit only by the glow of floating symbols overhead. The book is still in your hands, but now something else has appeared. A mirror. Tall, silver, still. You approach it. Your reflection stares back, but not quite right. The movements are delayed. The face is wrong. Your eyes look older. Your smile too sharp. Then the reflection moves before you do. You freeze. It holds up a hand, palm glowing. In its grip is a pen made of starlight, and it presses it against the mirror. Words begin to write themselves on the glass. Only what you believe can be written. And below that, but once written, it must be lived. Your reflection smiles, not kindly. You back away, and the mirror fractures slightly, a single crack forming down the middle. The pen disappears. Your hands begin to burn, not in pain, but with intensity. You look down. Your fingertips are glowing, same as the pen. You're the pen. You return to the book. Now, the pages are no longer blank. They are writing themselves, tracing your exact thoughts as they happen, like a real-time diary etched into reality you think you are discovering. The page reads, but you are only remembering. You turn to the next page, and for the first time, there is something already written there. Not by you, not by your current self. It says, "This is the third time you've been here." Your breath catches, the room grows colder. You turn the page again, blank. But this time, you know someone else wrote that message, or maybe a version of you who's already been through all this. A version who came back. You reach for the last page. And there, drawn in the same luminous ink, is a map. It shows the white room, the symbols, the pedestal. And something else, far off to one side, a black structure, featureless, labeled in a language you almost understand. You stare harder, and the word flickers into meaning, the architect. As soon as you read it, the book snaps shut. The hall vanishes, you're back at the pedestal. But now, the air feels heavy, denser. You look down. In your other hand, though you never picked it up, is the starlight pen. And somewhere deep within, you know you didn't write that book for you. You wrote it for the version of yourself who forgot, and you're not the first one to hold it. He's already standing there when you arrive, no movement, no sound. Just a figure, tall, cloaked in shifting silver, as if his entire body is wrapped in mirrors. He reflects everything, the floor, the void, the symbols, even you. But not accurately, not completely. When you step forward, your reflection in him doesn't follow. It lags behind, or sometimes moves ahead, other times it does something completely different. Like it's alive, like it's watching you from the other side. You speak, softly. "Who are you?" His mirrored head tilts slightly, and though he says nothing, a ripple of thought pushes directly into your mind, too clear to be mistaken for your own. "You know who I am." You squint. Your heart beats louder now, your fingers still tingling with the memory of the starlight pen. He takes a single step forward. Your reflection in his chest flickers. It looks afraid. You feel your knees weaken. You speak again. "What do you want?" Not want, the thought responds, remind. He raises one hand and suddenly the space around you fractures, like ice cracking under your feet. Reality stutters, the white void splits into fragments of memory, floating in every direction. Images rush past, a glowing sphere in your palm, compressing galaxies. A long table surrounded by others, beings of light, all with your face. You, whispering something into your own ear while asleep in a pod. A single line, repeated again and again in fire. "This is the only way to forget." You gasp ... and suddenly you're back in the mirrored chamber. The figure is now closer. The reflections shift again, now showing versions of you doing things you've never done, destroying cities, comforting a child made of stars, walking into a black sun. He lifts both hands now. A mirror forms behind him, wide, smooth, swirling. It doesn't reflect anything. You step toward it. He doesn't stop you. Your foot touches its surface and the glass ripples like water. Not cold, not warm, just deep. You look at him one last time. He nods and the thought returns. The architect will not remember you until you remember yourself. You turn back to the mirror, step through, and fall. No sensation of air, no light, only voices, thousands of them, overlapping. Creator, coward, observer, child. You land in a room with no roof, under a dark sky filled with floating code. In the center, a console hums. You know what it is. You've seen it before, in dreams you never thought were real. The machine, the one that builds reality. And now, it's waiting for you. The machine hums. It doesn't look like a machine, not in the way machines usually look. No gears, no wires, just a floating prism of energy, shifting colors with every thought you have. It pulses, like it's alive. Like it's listening. You approach it. It doesn't ask for a password. It doesn't need one, because you are the key. The console flickers, and before you touch it, text begins to appear, hovering in front of your eyes. Welcome back, architect. Memory status, partially suppressed, core permissions, locked. You reach out, and without contact, the prism reacts. Its faces begin to rearrange, opening pathways, revealing panels of logic that unfold like origami across dimensions. They display fragments of physical laws, constants, causal chains. Reality in code, and then you see it, the editor. A blank space, an input field, a cursor, blinking. You don't remember how to use it, but your fingers do. You type a word, not in English, not in any language you know, and the machine responds instantly. In the world beyond, you feel it. A star collapses into a jewel somewhere. A red sky turns violet. Somewhere else, to people who were never meant to meet suddenly cross paths. You try another command, this time more complex, an emotional signature. You write joy without memory, and the machine creates it. But just as you begin to feel the power returning to your mind, a warning flashes. Accessing core memory requires authorization. Authorization currently forbidden. Do not attempt to override. You pause and try anyway. Your hand moves to the prism and everything locks. The machine freezes, the symbols vanish, the editor closes. You hear something crack, not in the system, but in your chest. Like something inside you just snapped back into place. Your name, you remember your name. It isn't spoken, but it resounds. And when it does, the machine reacts, not with access, but defense. Reality twists, the room bends inward, geometry collapsing. The machine folds itself away, pixel by pixel, leaving behind only one object. A memory core the size of a coin floating in front of your heart. You touch it. And suddenly, you hear your own voice, from the past, distorted but clear. If you're hearing this, that means you tried to unlock it too early. You told yourself not to do that. But you've never been good at listening to yourself. The message laughs softly, then continues, don't panic. You're not broken, but you've triggered a reset. You won't be able to open the rest until the event begins, and it will begin soon. You try to speak, but the core silences you, flashing one final word, run. And without warning, the floor beneath you vanishes. You fall again, but this time not into memory, or light, or code. You fall into collapse, a tearing, a reboot. You land in the middle of nothing, black sky, distant thunder, a low vibration, a storm is coming. And it's not weather, it's the reset. The sky is black, not night, but absence. You lie on your back, surrounded by a windless void. It hums softly, like a system rebooting in the distance. There's no ground beneath you, but somehow you're supported, floating. And then, the voice returns, it's your own. Older, wiser, tired, but certain. It plays not from outside, but from within. A message you must have buried inside yourself long ago before the forgetting. If you're hearing this, it means the machine rejected you again. You tried to skip steps, you always do, you sit upright. The voice continues, calm and direct, like talking to an old friend you once were. The architect must forget in order to create. That's the rule, that's your rule. But you wrote a backdoor, you always do that too. Suddenly, a screen of light unfolds in front of you. Holographic, soft-edged, playing a memory like a video, but more real. You see yourself in another version, standing tall, wearing black, eyes glowing faintly blue, speaking into a sphere of light. You're recording this message. You've reached the edge of recursion, your past self says. You're about to loop, again, and this time. You might not come back, the current you shivers. You keep watching. The reset is coming because you built it that way, a final fail-safe. If you ever remembered too much, too soon, it would all collapse and restart. You designed the universe to protect itself from you. The screen flickers, the wind picks up. For the first time, you see cracks forming in the void above, huge, jagged lines of glowing code splitting the sky like lightning. Through them, you glimpse brief flashes of another world, one you may have left behind. Your voice continues, but there is one way out of the loop. You have to find the others. There were 7 of you at the beginning. 7 fragments of mind, 7 creators. You split your consciousness to contain the truth. Each one of them carries a part of your memory. The screen collapses. A new object appears, suspended in front of you, a compass. But instead of pointing north, it spins wildly until it locks on something not direction but identity. You don't recognize the name that forms in glowing letters. Fragment 3. The witness. You stare at it, and the sky rumbles louder now. A warning, you don't have much time. You ask aloud, where do I find them? Your past voice answers one last time, you already did, then silence. The compass pulses and begins to pull. You follow. Behind you, the cracks widen, the sky now unstable, unraveling line by line like broken code. You run toward the only thing pulling you forward. Toward the witness, toward your other self. And far behind, the reset begins. The compass leads you through a world that's coming apart. The ground beneath you is no longer solid. It pulses like data, glitches, tries to reload. Trees flicker in and out of form, structures phase between styles, timelines, languages. A city forms ahead, then shatters into sand before your feet ever touch it. This isn't destruction. This is deletion. The reset has begun. And it's beautiful. You look up. The sky is falling, not in pieces, but in patterns. Entire constellations folding inward like paper, constellations you've never seen, yet feel you've mapped before. You stop, trying to breathe, but there's no air. Only silence, and then, far above, the system speaks. A voice, not yours, not human, but familiar. Reset protocol. In progress. Estimated time to erasure, 14 minutes. You scream into the void, stop it, but you know better. You made this, you designed the fail-safe. If any version of you remembered too much, too soon, the system would trigger a universe-scale erasure, wiping all code, memory, forms of self. All of this, the white rooms, the symbols, the book, even the mirror-wearing man. All of it was a buffer. A sandbox, a safety net, and you just burned through it. Your only chance now is to find the witness, Fragment 3. If they remember their piece of the puzzle, there might be a way to halt the collapse. The compass flares, pulling you left, you follow. The terrain begins to stabilize slightly, less glitching, more detail. An old library forms around you, each shelf pulsing with light. The books write and unwrite themselves as you pass, and then you see someone. A silhouette, human, but not fully. They're facing away, reading a book whose pages don't exist, just turning empty space in a loop. You speak. Are you the witness? They stop, turn, and stare directly into your eyes. It's your face, but older, wiser, sad. The witness nods. You ask, "Do you remember?" They don't answer. Instead, they hand you the book, the invisible one. You touch it, and suddenly, time fractures. You're everywhere at once, in a lab, designing a physics engine from scratch. In a temple, carving language into walls. In a child's room, painting stars onto the ceiling. In the void, alone, setting timers into cosmic machines, and in all of them, you. Always forgetting, always returning. The witness grabs your hand. There's a backdoor, they whisper. You built it into the code. You forgot, but I didn't. They raise their hand, and reality trembles. A doorway opens in the center of the collapsing world. Beyond it, stillness, no colors, no sound. But safe, you hesitate. The witness turns towards you, eyes now glowing gold. Only one of us can leave. Only one of us can remember. You freeze. If you go, you survive, but if they stay, they reset. Forever, you ask. Why would you stay? They smile, faintly. Because that's who I am. I witness, you build. Behind you, The sky cracks open fully, revealing the infinite white beneath it. You step toward the door. Look back one last time, and the witness nods. You step through, and the universe ends. You're weightless. No light, no sound. Only stillness, the kind that feels to quiet like the universe is holding its breath. You step forward, though you're not sure how. There's no floor, no air, no reference. Just the sense that movement is possible if you believe it is. And then a door appears, not material, not metaphor, a presence. It floats in front of you, tall, black, smooth, like obsidian polished by silence itself. It has no handle, no keyhole, no seam, but you know what it is, the final door. This is the one the mirror-wearing man stood before. The one the witness stayed behind to let you reach. This is the point of no return. As you approach, words etch themselves slowly across its surface, not in ink but in memory. They shimmer faintly, pulled from your own forgotten mind. Beyond this door, you remember everything, including what you chose to forget. You hesitate. For the first time, you feel fear, not of death but of knowing. Because knowledge doesn't just reveal, it changes. Once you see the full shape of who you were, the creator, the destroyer, the observer, you cannot unsee it. You place your palm on the surface, it's warm, it recognizes you. And slowly, the door begins to melt into light. Behind it, a vast spiral opens, a cathedral made of time orbiting around a single point, you. But not this version of you, a version fully awake. Hovering above the center is a shape, neither person nor machine, but a consciousness condensed into a form your human mind struggles to hold. And it speaks without sound. You are ready. This is where the architect remembers the architect. The spiral tightens, images flash, the first simulation unstable but beautiful. The Council of Seven, your fragments, debating recursion and erasure. The day you chose to divide yourself, willingly, painfully, so that you might experience what you created instead of just knowing it, and then the final moment. The one you always blocked, you see yourself in godlike form, standing before the machine and speaking a command. Luck it all, wipe me clean, let me wander until I'm worthy to hold it again. The spiral dissolves, only one choice remains. The voice returns, step forward, and become whole. You glance back, but there is no back. There never was. You step into the light, and everything explodes, not with sound, but with understanding, not color, but clarity. You remember it all, the stars you placed, the rules you wrote, the feelings you encoded into particle behavior, the wars you allowed, the peace you blessed. The lives you lived, as king, as criminal, as child, as wind, as silence, you were all of it. And now, you feel yourself expanding into every atom, every field, every quantum entanglement. You are no longer inside the universe, you are its center. And for the first time in uncountable loops, you ask yourself, not in words, but in truth, should I start it again? And the answer comes from everywhere. Only if you're ready to forget again. It begins in silence, not absence, presence. A silence so complete it feels like a consciousness itself, not empty, but watching. You float not through space, but through your own history. Threads of yourself stretch outward like rivers, choices, lives, timelines. You follow them not as a passenger, but as their source. Then you see them, your fragments. 7 of them, 7 versions of you, not clones, not copies, but authentic realities, each carrying a part of your soul. Each one stares at you. Each one remembers you differently. They form a circle. The surroundings shift to match their memories, a shattered battlefield, a glowing library, a child's bedroom, a void of equations, a place without shape. One fragment steps forward, the designer. Eyes of fire. Voice like gravity, you abandoned us. Another, the rebel, laughs bitterly. No, he sacrificed us, the healer speaks softly, he forgot. To protect us from remembering, each one speaks. Each one accuses, asks, forgives, and you, standing now in your truest form, listen. Because they're not wrong, you fractured your mind to experience reality from all sides, joy and sorrow, power and vulnerability, creation and destruction. You wanted to become your own universe, but you left them trapped, pieces of your soul in isolated loops, living their lives with only partial truths, half memories, incomplete codes. You speak at last, not in apology, but in truth. I had to forget to understand what forgetting meant. The circle holds steady, the observer, silent until now, steps forward. They wear no face, no expression, only stillness. And now you've remembered, they say. So, what do we do with what you've become? A silence hangs in the air, then a doorway appears behind you. Not like before, not glowing or ominous, but simple, wooden, warm, and very human. You turn back to them? Each fragment of you is watching, waiting. Because what you choose next isn't about power. It's about integration. You ask, will you come with me? For a long, long moment, no one answers. Then slowly, one by one, they begin to walk toward you. They merge as they move, not disappearing, not dying, but returning. As they touch you, you don't absorb them. You remember them, not as pieces, as you. And when the last one steps into your light, the circle is whole again. You are whole again, the door opens. And behind it, not a throne, not a machine, not a simulation, but a sunrise, a world waiting new, blank, real. You step through the door and for the first time, you feel gravity, not metaphorical, not symbolic, real gravity. Wind touches your face. Your feet meet solid ground, soft grass under the glow of a gentle sun. The sky is streaked with lavender clouds. There are no glitches, no symbols. No echoes of erased timelines, only presence. This is not the world you came from. It's not a memory. It's not a simulation. It's something entirely new, a blank canvas. And you're holding the brush. You turn your hands over. They're warm, human, whole, and though the memory of what you were, what you became, still flickers in your chest, it's quieter now. Gentle, like the echo of a song you once wrote in a dream, you walk. Fields stretch outward into forests, rivers, mountains. Nothing here is named yet. It doesn't need to be. There's no script. No pattern to repeat, and then you stop. A question rises, not from fear, but from freedom. Do I begin again? You look skyward. It responds with birdsong, a breeze, the hum of potential. You kneel beside a river that wasn't there a moment ago. You watch the water, and for the first time, it does not reflect a god or a glitch or a forgotten version of yourself. It reflects you, as you are now, you whisper. Not as a test, not as a loop. Just as life, you stand and begin walking. Behind you, the universe builds itself, not as code, but as consequence. A trail of existence forms with every step. Trees grow, mountains rise, stars flicker to life far above. You are not programming this, you are being this. The voice, the machine, the architect, the fragments, they are gone. Not forgotten, just fulfilled. You breathe in the air. Not data, not light, air. You smile and begin to hum a tune you don't recognize, one that sounds oddly like the first sound ever made. You know others will come, not versions of you, not reflections, but others, and when they do, you'll be here. Not as a god, not as an author, just as the one who remembered and chose not to forget again.